So noticing your body and ensure that you're sitting comfortably. And just apply the awareness mind generally to start with. Turning the switch on in your mind to choose to be open-ended in awareness. So awareness for awareness sake, just practicing awareness in general. And notice how that's different than the discriminating mind, the intellect, so to speak. It's a different quality of mind. The mind sitting, just sitting in awareness. It's more akin to our original mind. The mind that we came into the world with when we were born. That mind with pure potential. And just this practice, which is really fundamental, developing, getting acquainted with the awareness mind, pure awareness, and eventually more and more identifying that state of awareness, identifying with that type of consciousness, eventually more and more becoming that state of mind. Of course, many, many analogies have been put forth from all kinds of philosophical and spiritual disciplines. The mind is like a mirror. The mind becomes like a calm surface of a lake that purely, truly, accurately reflects the moon. That's all leading to the same sort of place. A huge part of that is simply digressing from the surface active busy mind, because this deeper awareness is always there. Just like the ocean, the depths, the stillness of the ocean is always there. But also what's always there is a tumultuous surface. The waves are always in turmoil. That's more our surface mind, or what we usually identify as our mind. And unfortunately, what we then typically identify as ourselves. So most of us identify with that level of mind, with our thinking mind, and also our personality, which is part of that. So cultivating the willingness and the capacity to settle and open. There is a mind that is always aware. An eternal flame. Cultivating our ability to more and more meld into, tune into that level of mind. And over time, we start to identify and become that. Then everything else becomes free. We can choose to use the surface mind. We can choose to look at our emotions and decide what we're going to buy into, what we're not going to buy into. So we have all the other faculties still there, but we're not as chained and ruled and imprisoned and hypnotized by them. So this really is also a path of true freedom. Just this process. That's how important it is. This awareness mind is your true being. It's a more accurate representation of what and who you are. When you were born, just a newborn infant, again, you had all the capacity and potentials for everything that humans are capable of, including a very strong, powerful intellect. All those capacities and potentials were there latently, not developed or activated yet, but they were there. All potential was there. What was there, not latently, but up front and center, was pure awareness. Because you didn't have the developed surface mind yet. Nothing to distract you. And then we consciously work more intentionally, more directively. But it's so important to remember that this mind that we've worked with this last 3 minutes is key, is the core. Even when we get into the techniques that we do and the processes that we do and the tactics that we do, so human nature-like to get caught up in those things, just like we get caught up in the surface mind. Thoughts, our crust of ourself, which is our personality. Personality is only a manufactured crust. Even as we get into these techniques, which can be extremely freeing, cultivating, transforming, changing, every step along the way, we can get isolated down, tunnel vision down to the thing that we're using, the tool, the technique, and the thing that we're trying to get to, liberation or peace. Or those are all little collapsing down of the wave into nodules and particles, and we're lost again. So the awareness mind keeps us, are we getting lost? Are we getting stuck? Are we getting caught up? Are we getting ambitious? Are we getting greedy? Want more of that technique, want more of this piece? It's the awareness mind that's going to save you. It's the awareness mind that we're trying to get to more and more and develop a partnership, and again, eventually meld into this awareness mind. It becomes the guiding light in everything that you do, the guiding mirror. So allowing this baseline mind, the still peace, the depths of the ocean, it's clear, open-ended mirror, pure fidelity, keeping that as primary, we start to use the intention a little bit. Turning the light around is how it's often termed in Taoist arts. Turning the light around. So again, that's a major process for us. Because as we've touched upon many times, we tend to be externalized. So many colors, actions, activities, and just the way that we're brought up. Looking for verification, looking for vindication, looking for support, looking for answers. Everything is extended out. We're out of our bodies. So turn the light around. And literally in terms of the physical senses, our eyes are always out here, so to speak. Our ears are always out here. And our inner eye is always out here. What's going to happen next? Am I going to be okay? What should I do next? That's the inner sense. Is always reaching out here. So not only does that dislocate us, we're dislocated, we're lost, we're dislocated when we do that, but also on a biological level, on a physiological level, that completely drains our energy. It completely drains our essence. All the energy, if you just think about just the eyes, just as one sense, the amount of energy that's actually exuding and draining out of the eyes when you're at the computer, when you're driving, because of course, most of us are very visually oriented. All the energy is going out and lost. And same with all the other senses, including the inner sense of the personality, the mind, what I want, what I need, what's next. That's all energy literally bleeding out of you. So if you could have a certain kind of Kirlian photography, so to speak, being able to, or maybe even just an infrared, being able to see the heat waves, it's just all flowing out of you, being leached out, just on a physiological bodily energy level. Your essence, your physical essence, is being leaked and drained through the senses and through that surface mind. So turning the light around is a conscious volitional action. This is where intent comes in, to overcome the blind habitual tendency. Turning the light around, consciously turning your consciousness to shine on you and within you, turning the light of awareness, a mind of awareness, turning it around back to you and within you. And that is a type of light. It leads us to coming back home. We will never get, quote unquote, home or find ourselves in the best sense of those words when we're out here in terms of our mind and our senses. It won't happen. We're dislocated. We're not home. So a huge concept and phraseology is turn the light around. Just that, again, is a large path in and of itself. Developing the habit of turning the light back, turning the light back around. Sitting and doing that is a huge practice. Notice how that feels when you consciously turn the light around. Notice if that's different, how that's different than your light going outward. Turn all of the light around back to yourself and into yourself, all of it. Very simple phrase, turn the light around. Very simple process, but hugely important. It's a major key. Of course, all the techniques, the physical tactics and energy techniques are dependent upon our ability to turn the light into our bodies and our tissues. But it's much more, it leads to more than just being in your body and sensing parts of your body, sensing energy flow. It's much more than that eventually. Turning the light around is the way home. And as I've asked, if you can, in some ways, in the subtlest levels, perhaps notice a difference between that quality, that process, that approach with yourself, as opposed to the normal gear, the normal setting where it's out. Noticing all the differences you can, all the subtle differences. And then notice that'll also reveal how often, to what degree, we're not shining the light around. That's all going out. Notice, let it show you what your tendency is. This distinct difference between out there, externalized. The important things are about what I do out here. The important things are what's happening out here. How that differs from changing that importance, changing the priority to turning the light around. Noticing the difference in quality, difference in feeling, different sense. Choosing to turn the light around. Give yourself permission to do that even more in this moment. Turn the light around even more. Even more. Turn the light around. Turn the light around. Let your body become filled with that light of awareness. Filled with that presence. And how different that is from being externalized, projecting outward. Allow more of that light to enter you, more of that awareness, that clear light of consciousness, that clear, transparent mind of awareness. Turn it fully around, back into you, to you, even more.